Welcome back to Dark Souls 2. We're going to finish up Seldora today. We're going to take on the area boss. We're going to meet some NPCs and take on some NPCs. And we finished the first part of Seldora, which was the other main area with the sand basilisks and whatnot. And this area here is the other kind of main part to Seldora. It's above the giant sand vortex. And you've got the zip lines. The first thing you're going to want to do is take out these annoying mages, and obviously with him and the gunpowder barrel you should just fire a fire arrow into that and just take him out as quickly as possible. It's the most efficient way to do it. Don't know why I didn't, but it doesn't matter I suppose. Take them out any way you can. And you've got these zip lines. You can also jump from above to get over here if you don't want to use the zip line. And just be careful. I didn't realise that this was possible. I thought you could actually just kind of, I don't know, I kind of expected I guess to just go through the home and soul arrow, but no. It'll actually knock you off the zip line, send you plummeting into the sand sphincter. And I guess it's home and soul arrow, so that makes sense even if it is annoying that it's going to turn at an angle like that. And there's a room coming up to the left in here, and it's one of the most annoying rooms in the whole of Dark Souls 2. My advice to you is just to go storm the room and take the two hollow mages out as quickly as possible. I don't know why, that's what I normally do. Normally I just go in and attack them, but for some reason, I don't know, I must have been in a strange mood and I wanted to do it the most challenging way possible by throwing things at them while avoiding the home and soul arrows. And it just doesn't, it's not a good strategy, it doesn't work very well. And you just end up going through a lot of Estus and, you know, healing items and whatnot. And one interesting thing is, I'll shut up a second. Do you notice that they've got this like chant before they cast their soul arrow? So it reminds me of the channelers in Dark Souls 1 in the Duke's Archives. Anyway, I'm not going to show you the plight I had to go through to kill the other guy and then make a mess of trying to kill this guy. Another annoying thing is obviously that spider on the roof, because it can cause you to switch from the mages up to the spider, and obviously you'll want to concentrate on them. But anyway, you get your 4 lightning urns and they come in handy definitely later on in the game. I would advise taking this spider out just now, because if you don't, I believe he lands on top of your head once you get down the ladder. And I think you can drop safely down from there if you've got the cat ring, you know, the, what's its full name? The ring that you buy from Shalquar that allows you to fall great distances without taking too much damage. But just use the ladders if you don't have it. It doesn't matter really if you lose health, because there's a bonfire here. It's a handy bonfire. The only thing is, well, I'll talk about that later. We get the Mastodon Greatsword, and it really is a great sword. Better than the Claymore in terms of scaling. You get an A scaling in strength rather than a C scaling, I think it is, for the Claymore. I kind of prefer the Claymore's moveset, I think, because of the R2 spin. Where you, like, you know, plunge the sword forward, thrust it forward, and then you've got the spinning attack in the Claymore to follow up. But in this, the attacks are more kind of, yeah, I prefer the moveset in the Claymore. The only annoying thing about this room is you can see that no spiders spawned. The reason is because I killed them all. Unfortunately, this is one of these strange bonfires where you're, you know, basically, you know, going to spawn into the area where there's enemies, which doesn't really make much sense. But and you've got these spiders here. They're guarding this upgrade item, and it's convenient that we find this upgrade item here, because this upgrade item is Petrified Dragonbone, and this is used for upgrading boss weapons. And you need 15 to get a boss weapon to +5. And the reason it's convenient is because the NPC, the weapon, the blacksmith that's responsible for you trading souls to get boss weapons is in this room, and we've already met her before. We actually freed her before. It's Weaponsmith Ornifex, and she's got these creepy dolls. I'll talk about these dolls in a wee second, but I think they've got a link to, perhaps a link to Dark Souls 1. Flame butterfly there, and I think it's a soul item in here. No, it's a Pharaoh's Lockstone. And she's got her own wee mini bonfire going here. Let's speak to her.
Oh, we meet again, kind traveller. This is my workshop. In your tongue, I believe I would be called a blacksmith. I create all manner of equipment, using an ancient technique unique to my people. Normally I only cater to a very select few.
That's interesting.
But I have a debt to you. I will craft one thing of your choice. My wares are far from ordinary. I am certain that they will please you.
So she'll only
I require no payment this time.
bring her 100 souls. So I'll trade souls, get boss weapons. But she normally only caters for select few, maybe her masters or gods. And she sells some unique weapons, the Murakumo, Partisan Composite Bow. Composite Bow, not sure how well it works in this game, I've never actually used it. And the Twin Blade if you didn't pick it up in the Lost Bastille. Fire arrows and fire bolts are very useful later on in the game. You might want to just stock up on some of them now while you're here. I've actually switched from my bow to the Javelin, because the Javelin later on in the game just becomes very useful and helpful. This is the
nature of an item is greatly influenced by the soul that was used to create it. They can be tricky to use, but when wielded properly, are extremely powerful. This is what I meant by unique. These wares are not for use by ordinary folk.
So I guess she's just clarified what she meant by it's only caters for certain people. Just people that can actually handle the, you know, the power of these weapons that are forged from boss souls. So Vendrick picked up where Sif kind of left off, because Sif was interested in the same kind of, you know, soul science, if you want to call it that. Some whatever.
It is said that our technique originates from a strange being that inhabited this land.
And she's talking about Sif the Scaleless here.
A pale beast that lived long, long ago. We don't even know what exactly it was. If you find
and I'll talk about the dolls now. If you look at the dolls, either they mean two things. Well, first of all, there's dolls that have like the hollow. You know how we've got those undead citizens in Lost Bastille that explode and whatnot? They've got like the core, the brown core or the black core. If you look at the dolls behind her, they've got the same kind of like, you know, core thing going on. It's like a hollow core in this case with the dolls. And the other connection is the peculiar doll to get access to the painted world of Ariamis, and the fact that you get these, you know, crow demons or harpies or whatever you want to call them in the painted world, and only the painted world of Ariamis. So maybe there's like a link there with Dark Souls. Maybe it's just like a nod to Dark Souls 1. I don't know, she's a very useful weaponsmith, regardless of anything else. And you'll be back to her a few times. So that's why it's worth taking out the spiders that are in that kind of lower Brightstone Cove bonfire. And behind this cabinet there's a chest, and there's also a spider behind here. I knew there was a spider behind here. I don't know why I didn't react to it as soon as I walked through. You'll see in a second. Can I make an ass of it? And interestingly, inside this chest is an item that I think refers to the Way of White and Allfather Lloyd and that kind of aspect of the story from Dark Souls 1. It's a Crescent Axe, and it talks about how it's imbued with magic. we'll see the description. Yeah, one sense is that this axe was once imbued with a sacred power, but only traces of it remain. Perhaps those who blessed this axe, well, I can't remember what it said at the end, but my feeling is that that's referring to the Way of White, and you know you had divine weapons that were used to take out undead in the catacombs and whatnot. So anyway, when you fall down here, you come across the zip line again. Pick this item up, large titanite shard, and make sure that you go below, because below inside the doorway there is an Estus flash shard, so don't forget to pick that up. And basically I've cut here straight to the area where the boss is, and you know how to get here. It's you cross the wee bridge that's above the crystal pit that you take damage from if you walk in, and you've got the two spider guys on the kind of wall above waiting to ambush you. And another thing while I'm walking through here and before the boss fight, to remind you guys, you might not have heard of this, but FromSoft, you're probably aware of the fact that FromSoft are going to be releasing DLC for Dark Souls 2. Well, they've basically decided to incorporate a special feature in conjunction with the release of the DLC, and in lead up to the release they're going to reset the treasure chest inside the Majula mansion. So currently, even if you went and already taken the treasure from the Majula mansion, which was a soul vessel, which allows you to respec your stats and attributes at the Firekeepers back at Things Betwixt. Anyway, if you go back to that treasure chest, and what you need to do is you need to respawn in at the Majula bonfire. Even if you go to Majula, spawn in at the bonfire in Majula, then rest at the bonfire again and spawn back into Majula again. I know you've not gone anywhere, but that's how I had to get it to work. But what happens then is, if you go back to that treasure chest, there's going to be some new treasure waiting for you. And it's not going to be a soul vessel this time. Currently this week it's 3 Petrified Somethings. Next week I think it's Twinkling Titanite. Obviously you only get it once. So if you go today, you'll get 3 Petrified Somethings, and you can trade that with the crows for some good items. Well, hopefully you'll get good items. What else? The DLC, I put links in the previous episode to some graphics with information on it about the DLC. I think it's called the Sunken King's Crown or something, the quest of the Sunken King's Crown, something along those lines. And apparently this DLC is going to have 2 routes. So one route will be the kind of normal difficulty, and the second route will actually be an intense difficulty where you can be invaded by human players. And the human players don't even have to have the DLC apparently. They can warp in from elsewhere. From the normal Dark Souls 2 game. Right, let's talk about the boss fight now. Up here you've got a summon for Ashen Knight Boyd. I have no idea how useful this guy is in the boss fight. I've never used him before. Apparently he uses some kind of rapier type weapon. And he likes to hunt spiders, and that's useful because in this boss fight you're going to be chased and pursued by spiders. The boss fight itself is really easy in my opinion. It's a gimmicky fight. The biggest challenge is maybe the spiders that are going to be chasing after you. But the boss itself, you want to bait it into doing a certain attack, and then we'll talk about that during the fight. To get prepared for the fight, if you're not going to use a weapon that can strike the ground, make sure that you've got some kind of firebomb or urn on your bar so that you can throw them at spiders if they're annoying you. Stamina regen stuff is good. Charcoal pine resin or aromatic ooze, all good to use on the spider. Probably gold pine resin as well actually. Not 100% sure about that, so you might want to check that out before you go into the fight. What else? You can see that there's a petrified dragon there. And we've got a massive spider here. And this is the Duke's beloved Freja. His pet spider. And Duke's Eldora apparently was fascinated by arachnids and kept this one, Freja, as a pet. And basically you want to stay at a middle distance from her. And then you want to bait her into using the laser attack. Try not to get hit by her web, because if you get hit by the web you're going to get rushed by the spiders, and you're going to get impaled by Freya's feet, or whatever they're called in spiders. But yeah, so stay a middle to kind of long distance away from her. Bait her into using the ether laser attack, or whatever it's called, and then strike into her face. And what happens is the laser attack is kind of fired out and then travels in a counterclockwise direction. So unless you've got high agility, if you've got high agility you can roll through the laser. Here's the laser now. If you've not got high agility, you're better just to run counterclockwise away from the laser beam, and then just run towards her at the same time, because it's slower the closer you are to the source, obviously, and then get your hit in her face. And hammer class weapons, in my opinion, work better in this fight than like swords and halberds and things like that. And it's really kind of a gimmicky fight, kind of easy. The spiders are a pain, and that was me just being stupid there. But yeah, you can just kind of roll through the thing if you've got enough agility, which is kind of like the old Iron Keep, the old Iron King fight, where you can, you know, I was getting annoyed with the spiders here, they were pissing me off. I didn't really do very well in this fight, I don't think. I kind of let myself down a wee bit here. Kind of made a few basic errors. And I just fast forward, because the fight just kind of progresses along the same kind of lines. Me baiting the laser attack and then coming in and going for the face smash. And you get a decent amount of souls for this, I think. Yeah, 55. Well, I don't think you get as many as that. I've got a couple of soul items on, like the silver serpent ring and the jester's manchettes. I've actually changed them to black using a mod. And I think I said this before, but I'm wearing a new armour set now. I'm not using the Alvin armour anymore. But anyway, this was left over. I've never seen this before. I've heard about it. The head can be kicked around like a football. So this is Freya's head with the, what is it, 6 or 8 eyes that the spider's got. And obviously this is a dragon, and this will become clear that what this dragon is and its origins and whatnot will become clear later on in the game. And you can see that there's something strange in the ground here. We get a great soul. And if you come back to this area, anyway, let's talk about this. The Burrowing Ruin is an ancient thing whose shadow remains cast over the land. Seldora is a place burdened by terrible misdeeds, and those who remained were transformed beyond recognition. So I think Freya underwent some kind of transformation, and that'll become clearer in a minute as well, because we're going to go to a place here, and this is the Duke's private studies. Or his private study, and you can see that there's a humanoid figure in the distance, and that is actually Duke Seldora himself. He's absolutely hollowed at this point, he's insane, he's crazy, it's his private chamber, he's not happy with us being here, so we'll just take him out, and he's extremely easy. He's got a 100% chance to drop 3 items, we'll see them in a minute. Same books. Some of the same, I don't know why I threw a Crows of Urn at him, that's a PvP item. I like how his rapier landed in the ground and impaled itself into the wood. Bright stone key, fragrant branch of yore, and dark quartz ring +1. So the key will allow you to go back to the room with all the spiders that drop down from the roof on the way to the boss fight, and you can get a good weapon that's in there if you've got dexterity. The eccentric Lord Seldora, known for his fascination with spiders, built a town and a personal fortune by mining Brightstone. One day the town was overrun by spiders, but Lord Seldora only stood by and watched, eerily contented. So the guy obviously lost his marbles, and yeah, what I was saying was this book, see the one that's below my foot to the left, the white one, that's the same one that's in the Duke's archives. I've mentioned this book before, it's a real book written by an obscure French author. Don't know why FromSoft have included it. See the cage? That cage, I presume, once held the Duke's favourite spider, Freja. She escaped and became the giant that we know her as now. So you'll recognise this person, or this body, straight away. This is Vengaro's body. Remember I said about the holy water runs? They are really powerful and they do a lot of damage against undead. I don't know what... I'm using my poison dagger here just because I wanted something different, some variety. And you can poison him. He's also very easy to parry as well, I believe. But yeah, the holy water runs do work very well. So the question I have is, what is Vengaro's body doing here? Why is it here? Why is it guarding the primal bonfire? Why is it, you know, why do you meet the hollowed out Duke and then you've got Vengaro's body? And you get his armour here, and his armours have got, I think is it wolves on the shoulders? Ferocious Vengaro Ferosa, the Lion Knights, Motley Crew, blah blah blah. It's strange, they say that Vengaro was like a ferocious person that was kept at arm's length. Sorry, I was just being quiet there because of the whispering. I definitely could hear it there, and I boosted the volume, so I hope you guys heard it. But yeah, it's interesting because he's not really ferocious. When you talk to him, he's a very measured and reasonable person. His head is, at least. His body's blinking nuts. Who locked... The mother question is, who locked Weaponsmith Ornifacts
bearer of the curse.
in the cell, or whatever it is, in what do you call it? Shaded Ruins. Anyway, thanks for watching and I hope this episode helped. Don't forget to go to the mansion.